Well, just for a minute, maybe.
Okay,
we got to go because we got viewers that want to hear from Mark. Here we go.
To the Sales Slap podcast, where we hit you with the hard truths, bold strategies, and expert insights you need to master the art of selling. And who's leading the charge? Meet your hosts, Rick Denley, Simon Hares, and Scott Donald. Get ready for real talk, expert advice, and game-changing strategies. Because in sales, you don't just play, you slap. Let's dive in.
We got moving, we got to dance. So everybody, welcome to the Sales Slap podcast. Minus Simon. Unfortunately, this gentleman here, I know Mark was so upset, Simon, that you're not here today. Simon had a Lego accident. He stepped on a Lego piece, and we know how painful that is. So he's out right now.
He's recovering.
He's not.
You know what, Rick? You're not normally funny, but that was pretty funny.
A little backhanded compliment. Thanks, Scooter. Much appreciated.
But wasn't it funny though? Because Mark comes on, he goes, "Where's Simon?" That's the first thing he says. Not like, "Hey guys, good morning" or anything like that. Where's Simon?
I mean, I even picked the Legos up off the floor. So, I mean,
did you pick
Simon? You don't want to have
too?
a Lego. You don't want to have a Lego accident, do you?
No.
Right.
I mean,
legally, I have to do an introduction. Well, not legally, but I'm going to. Today on Sales Slap Podcast, we've got a guest who technically doesn't need an introduction. Not only because he's a returning guest here, but mostly because his nickname is his introduction. When you're called the sales hunter, people already know you're showing up with precision, discipline, and probably a few tips against weak pipelines. So you're in the right place, salespeople. Mark Hunter is in the house. Let's get into it. Mark, welcome back. What's new in the world of selling?
I haven't stepped on a Lego this morning. So how's that?
That's a great
What
start.
a great start of the day.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that's new. I mean, come on, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, the marketplace has changed, hasn't it? Hey, I got three things I will throw out right now that I think have changed. We, the sales community, have to do a better job of separating interest from intent. A lot of customers can express interest, but it's about intent. Second thing, do we know what our customers' KPIs are? I mean, we really got to go. Let's get personal. Let's find out what are their KPIs, because ultimately that is what's driving them. The third thing is we do not know enough about their customer's customer. Now, I've talked about that one for a long time, but boy, I tell you what, you got to go downstream. Those are the three things that I think, because right now customers don't want to make a decision. They want to make a decision because they're afraid of looking stupid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. With that, I'm out of here. I'm going to go.
Three top things. I can't drop my mic. It's over there. You won't be able to hear me. But all right. So you mentioned about right away, we're looking at separating interest from intent. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Why do we need to do that as salespeople, Mark?
Well, because too many salespeople are still responding to the lead where it's somebody participated in a webinar, somebody downloaded a white paper, somebody did this, somebody did that. And they somehow think this is a motivated buyer. No, they're not. They just have an interest. They just had an itch. And the best way to find out about intent is really dissecting three things. What is the urgency of getting this problem solved? In other words, is there a timeline? Two, do they have the budget? In other words, can they afford what you got? And three, are you dealing with the decision maker? Now, we could go down that rabbit trail a lot further. There's a lot more things, but those, I say, are the top three things. Because again, you can have that initial meeting, customer expresses interest, and we salespeople get the assumption disease. You know, the assumption, we just assume they're going to buy. We just assume they're great because we just want to put something in our pipeline to make our boss look good. Well, put it in your pipe and smoke it because it ain't going anywhere.
There you go. So it's all about qualifying up front, and don't be smoke screening when you're putting opportunities in just to stuff the top of the pipeline is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's, people are afraid to ask tough questions. Salespeople are afraid because they are more intent on just somehow getting it to the next stage. No, what they really want to do is just get in the pipeline to keep their boss happy. That's all they're looking to do. That's
right. And that's poor leadership. When you look at it, if leaders are doing that to us, Laura Oliver's chimed in here. Great to have you on board, Laura. Correct. Those are just people gathering information for their own learnings of interest, not for the purpose of buying and selling. So you got to get away from that.
Mark.
Yeah. That is such a real issue. And again, what's funny is the example I love to use is the new person who goes into the insurance industry, or a financial planner. Okay. And they're going to have tea for our Brits out there, with all of their relatives, all of their friends. And they are interested because they like you, but they have no intent to buy. And it's just not going anywhere. But the same thing happens in B2B sales, happens everywhere else. The most valuable asset we as salespeople have is our time.
Yes.
It's our time. And don't go spending it with people who, aren't worth it. And just because they fit your ICP. In fact, I talked about this it's funny. I listened to one of my own episodes today. And
did you learn something?
Yeah, that was amazing. And wow, that's a shock. And I was talking about ICP, and just because they fit your ICP does not mean they have intent.
No, we have to go with a very critical eye on opportunities and learn to say no earlier. That this is not the opportunity for me to be chasing right now. It might be longer term. And as you say, if they don't have intent to buy, I need to move on. It's something that I know in my sales career early on, I wish somebody had taught me, because I was always over optimistic.
Yes.
Instead of looking at the data that was right in front of me. I go, well, this person and I get along great. They're going to buy from me because they like me. And I had to learn to remove the likeness and the ego portion of it and say, no. Do these people have the key things that you just mentioned, the urgency to buy, the budget to buy? And am I talking to the right person, or am I just talking to the one that I'm comfortable with?
So,
because it's always difficult, isn't it, Scooter? Go.
I want to ask two questions here. And I guess, well, maybe it's one question. So I think about younger Scott, who was, less wrinkly and gray and quite handsome, really. And I wonder if when we're doing these things, the separating interest from intent, are we BSing ourselves, and or are we BSing our manager or somebody higher up in the organization? And I think it could be a bit of both. I've often said to people, if I could go back and talk to that younger effervescent Scott, I would probably tell him to take at least a third of the stuff in his funnel and get rid of it because it was garbage. And Rick made the point about we like to confuse early in our career people who like us from people who are actually have the intent. So maybe to take all of that ramble and put it into a question for our guest today. What do you think, Mark? Is it a combination of fooling ourselves and our manager in terms of giving them what they want? Or is one taking precedence here over the other, do you think?
I think it's both. And it's an odd even. On the odd days of the week, it's to appease you. On the even days of the week, it's to appease the boss. Here's the thing: when we spend time with the wrong people, it takes time away, and we are not able to watch Hockey Night in Canada.
Nice.
It's just see, I had to get that in there.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, here I am in Texas. And yet I understand it's Hockey Night in Canada. Because
are you watching, Mark?
Absolutely.
Are you watching right? Are you watching right now?
Playoff hockey is.
Are you pulling for any? Who are you pulling for right now?
I don't even know who's in the NHL playoffs. So
it's fun. It's fun to watch. though. Oh, hey Simon, we miss you.
I absolutely yeah.
It's Simon. So
I mean, I apologize. I know very little.
No, that's so. I think this is actually a lead up to another question that I had bouncing around in my head. Is so you came out of the gate with separating interest from intent. What are their KPIs and understanding their customer's customer.
Yeah.
And to me, this speaks to kind of the process or the game plan, to kind of put it back into hockey terms, that organizations have or don't have. And I've kind of worked on the assumption that, like hockey and football example, there's lots of analytics, right? They have measurements and KPIs for everything. And they focus on. So I've always had this notion that organizations to some extent could take a page out of or learn from hockey teams or football teams in terms of their commitment to the game plan and using analytics, the right analytics and the right data to improve performance. So because you brought up hockey, and thank you for that, do you think that there's a lesson to be learned from the intense focus and commitment to excellence that sports organizations and high performing athletes, and Rick and I have talked about this, are there some analogies or some parallels that we can have in sales in terms of what they do and what organizations can do to perform at an even higher level?
Any sport, you love baseball to basketball.
Yeah. So hold on. And I even heard a little process slipped in there too. So
yes, thank you. You know what, Mark? This is a safe place to say process, by the way.
Process, data. You swing any way you need.
It's a presentation, not a presentation, just for those listening. Yeah.
Hey. What were we talking about?
I don't know what the question ended.
I was basically so I'll paraphrase my question.
You got 10 seconds, Scooter. Get it out.
So teams are very focused on process and excellence and execution and the right data and the right analytics. And I've often found that organizations that they took the same focus could also improve their commitment to excellence in their performance. And my question to you, Mark, is there something there, and what is your perspective on that?
Yes, absolutely. Here's the whole thing. It is so easy for us to get fixated on the end goal. The end goal is to win the game.
Yes.
Is to, but it's all the activities that lead up to that. And this is where so many salespeople, so many organizations get wrong. This is where you really, interest versus intent. I gotta analyze intent. How is intent being expressed? And if you think about it, any good team, whether it be hockey, basketball, football, soccer, whatever it might be, there are activities that have got to be executed, whether it be on the court, whether it be on the ice, whether it be on the pitch, on the field, whatever.
Yep.
And the quality of those activities is going to determine. And this is what's interesting. You can't just go out and do those plays, do those activities. You got to practice. You got to practice.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what salespeople got to back up the bus and realize that we got to practice role playing. We got to practice this sort of stuff so that when we get into the sales call, now we're on the pitch, we're on the ice, we're on the court, we're on the field. Now we can execute.
I love this.
Muscle memory.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so it's great, right? Because I've said this to people too, that in sales, we tend to be in the game Monday to Friday all day long. But if you look at, say, football, because they play once a week, they spend all week preparing for the meeting, the game. Mm-hmm. And I realize that we can't do it to that extent. But when you think about the preparation and the commitment to excellence that you just described, again, I always feel like, as a former elite athlete myself, that there's a lot we can learn from that. Rick, don't say anything. Anyway, I love the way you frame that, and hopefully, the millions of people that are going to be watching this will pick up on that, because I think it's an important aspect.
Don't be scared.
Culture.
Be prepared, and preparedness equals success. Mark, if you're talking about customers' KPIs, why do I give a hoot? Why do I care about customer KPIs? And give me one example of a KPI I should.
Good question, Rick.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, customers are not wanting to make a decision. They just do not want to make a decision because they're afraid of looking stupid. They're afraid of making the wrong decision. So the feeling is status quo is the best option.
Yeah.
If I understand what their KPIs are, I'm working with several companies right now, and they have very explicit KPIs to raise the margin in specific categories. That's literally in this person's KPIs. Well, if I know that, guess what? I'm gonna zero in my help with him and his team to be able to help drive that. That's so understanding their KPIs. They may have a KPI of saying, between now and the end of the year, you've got to be able to reduce X amount of labor. You've got to be able to do this. You got to.
Right. And knowing that if you can help them achieve their goals, there you are. I mean, that's a win-win, whether you call it consultative selling, whatever the term is you want to use. You're helping them be successful. So
you're helping customers
to work with and choose you.
The reason I like this is because it's so easy. I mean, I can go into a customer, and both of you can go into a customer, and you can share things that are very helpful to customers. I mean, I get salespeople all the time that are trying to sell me and my company all kinds of things. And it's great. I mean, I know they can help me. But you know what? If it's not going to address a strategic issue, my KPIs. I'm the CEO. I'm the owner of my company. My strategic. I just don't have time. It's
So
not
they should
happening.
identify those, and then you're going to give them the time and attention that you need because it's a priority for you. I love that. Third thing you mentioned earlier on, knowing your customers. And I really love this one.
Yeah.
Because it's an interesting part where back in my selling day, I discovered something along these lines. And I used to work with other sales reps and distributor reps. I was a supplier rep. And I'd say, well, let's go see the customer. And then while we're with them, I'd say, well, what is it you're trying to do for your customer? And at times I got in front of their customer and I was helping my customer sell their solution to their customer. And the end customer to all of this saw this great conglomerate of people that were helping out on their behalf. Tell me more about this, knowing your customer's customer.
Yeah. Well, here's the ultimate goal. You want to be able to bring back to your customer information about their customers that they don't know. I came out of the consumer packaged goods industry. We sold stuff to stores. We sold stuff to stores, and stores in turn sold it to consumers.
Right.
And in that industry, we had a tremendous amount of consumer data. We had so much consumer data, it was unbelievable. And we could bring that into our customers. When I began to shift and became more just straight B2B sales, I began to realize, wait a minute, there's a gap. Why is this known with consumer goods, but it's not known in software, in industrial sales, manufacturing, et cetera, et cetera? And yet all of those businesses still got to do something to create revenue, which means they have to have customers. Right. What do I know about their customers? And internally, even internally, you may be dealing with the chief information officer. Okay, fine. But the chief information officer is dealing with other departments in the company, other departments in the organization. So you could say that their initial customers are these other departments. What's going on in these other departments that would be relative to the CIO? Wow. Everybody's got a downstream. Everybody has a downstream.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what you want to be looking at going forward. So those are some great tips for our salespeople out there that are going to be helpful. I want to ask you another question here. You've built your career, on the belief that prospecting is the foundation of all business. For sellers who are struggling with motivation and getting ghosted lately, what's the single mindset shift or tactical change that immediately improves prospecting results? What's one thing that improves that they can be doing?
Do you want to put food on the table? Do you want to eat? Okay. Let's get here. I tell you what, I struggled with this initially. I very much did, because I came out of consumer packaged goods where, you knew who the accounts were. They knew who you were. You know everything. It comes down to two things that you have to understand. One, if you know you can help someone, you have an obligation to reach out to them. But stop and think about that. I mean, I've got a lot of problems. All you have to do is ask my kids. They will tell you, Dad. And if I knew you guys could help me, I would want you to reach out. I would want, and if I found out later that you could have helped me and you didn't, I'd be disappointed. See, we're doing customers, we're doing them a favor when we reach out to them. Second thing, to help you from a motivation standpoint, take a piece of paper, write down 5 customers that you've sold to, or 10 customers. And next to that, write down not what you sold them, but the outcome you created. The outcome.
Yeah.
That's magic. And then you make that list and you give yourself a big hug. You go, I'm good. I'm really good. And keep that piece of paper in front of you at all times. Because again, we are in the bit. If you believe that you are just a transaction, it's your job to exchange something for money. And this was my problem early on in sales. I viewed customers as bowling pins. My job was just to knock them down, take their money and run. When you view what you do as a service of helping others succeed. Yeah. Because my definition of a sales is the same definition of leadership, which is really what I mean. I think a great salesperson is a great leader.
What is that? If you're going to define sales and leadership.
It is helping others see and achieve what they did not think was possible.
Right on.
Drop the mic on that. That's. I mean, again, that's what a great leader does. That's what a great.
Mark, can you
Exactly
repeat that?
right. Exactly.
Repeat that
And I
again?
get asked all the time, why do we do what we do? And in my case, it's because I'm helping people be the very best version of themselves, whether
Right.
it be sales,
Right.
leadership, anything.
Right.
That's and I truly believe that. And that's why, to your point, when you talk about that we have an obligation to help, and I talk to leaders, I said, look, you have an obligation here. And then at the end of the day, I tell them, you know what you really have at the end of the day is that you've got an opportunity and you need to fulfill that for people.
It's. I mean, when I get to wake up in the morning and realize that my job is to help others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. I mean, that's what we're doing right here on this podcast right now. That's what we're doing.
I hope so. That's our intent.
We are helping people do that. And when I take that and then combine that with my prospecting deal in terms of if you have the ability to help someone, you owe it to them to reach out to them. When you combine those two, then again, with this piece of paper where you're writing down the customers and the outcomes, not what you sold them, the outcomes. Wow. It begins to change.
Yeah.
How
You're not pushing some products and things on people, you're helping them. They have a concern, they have a need, they have a problem, and we have the solution. So why wouldn't we want to get it out to them?
Yeah. And oh, by the way, they will never realize the full value of what you can give to them until they buy from you. So the sale is absolutely important because otherwise they're never going to realize the value.
I'm going to also flip this back to what you said earlier, Mark, around getting to know your customer's customer. And, Rick kind of told the story about how he worked with the folks that he worked with. It strikes me that, one, that's a great way to understand how you help your best customers. Like, I think there's a couple of key words in there, and I love the intention that, we're here to hopefully help people become the better version of themselves. I love that idea. And I imagine that, spending time with your customers is important. Spending time with your customers is important because you said how you help and what those outcomes are. And it seems to me that one of the big challenges in sales is that we're still very focused on features and benefits and what the product does as opposed to the help part of it. So, maybe, in your words, what does the exercise look like for organizations to change the mind shift from I'm going to sell this person based on our features and benefits to I'm going to help this person get better outcomes?
Yeah, I got to share a story because I get asked this all the time. I'll be working with a company and maybe I'll go out with some salespeople or whatever. And they say, well, how long have you been in the industry? I go, I haven't been in the industry, but I've been dealing with people my whole life. You see, what happens is we get hung up on, you're right. You go to work for a new company. I got to learn the product, learn the customer, Yeah. If we would spend as much time learning the customer as we did the product, we'd be a lot. I hate going to sales kickoff meetings. No. I love going because I get paid to speak.
Wait, Mark, I get
clarity. Yeah.
We'll speak at these as well. So no, we love going to them.
Yeah. I mean, you may need to edit. Okay. Anyway, but here's the
keep inviting us to your kickoff meetings.
Yeah. So much of we should do it together, right?
Yeah, good idea. I got that.
So much of the SKO is not a sales kickoff; it's a product kickoff because all they're doing is talking about the product.
And they miss the commercials. It's always heavy on product, not commercials.
Yes.
Yes. Used to frustrate me beyond.
And it's like, and then the sales piece is just kind of the afterthought.
Yeah.
At the end.
Not the way to be.
The best sale, two things that I think salespeople really choke on, and this is what every 4-year-old, every 3-year-old.
Wait a minute. I'm running out of sticky notes.
You're running out of sticky notes. Man.
I'm taking notes and I'm running out.
Hold on. Rick, how old are you that you're using sticky notes? I know we want to get back to Mark's example here about 3- and 4-year-olds, but come on, man.
Not as old as you look. Okay, Mark.
That was good. Not as old as you look. Wow.
Not as old as you look.
Okay.
Whatever.
Here's the thing. Every 3- and 4-year-old has a level of curiosity. that just won't stop, right? I mean, they just want to ask questions.
There's that word, curiosity.
Curiosity. And great salespeople have an insatiable level of curiosity.
Yep.
And that is transferred into the questions that they ask. And this is the whole thing. It's just asking more questions. Now, here's the deal. I can't get to that point until I'm confident. I'm confident. And it's not confident about you and your product. It's not. It's about you confident being able to have a conversation. If the customer asks me a question that I don't know, hey, you know what? It's a great opportunity for a follow-up. I don't have the answer to that. I'm going to find out and I'm going to get back to you. Boom, boom. But here's the piece that I love about asking questions. Too many salespeople walk in with this list of questions. And it's a list of questions that they know the customer can't answer, but they can. And this is the way they look brilliant. Oh, yeah, I look brilliant.
You just said on one of your other podcasts, come in with 10 questions, whether you use them or not.
Yeah. You want to come in. Thank you for being my other listener.
I tune in.
Yeah. That's fine. Because I just don't come from a big family. So, anyway. The other piece.
Mark's on fire today. That's good stuff.
We're family here, Mark. Okay, I'll tell you that much all the time. Bloody hell.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, Simon.
Look how adorable he is.
We had to pop him on here because we miss Simon and we love Simon. And you mentioned family, so there he is. All right.
All right, carry on.
You got to put his picture into AI and say, create me a Lego image of Simon.
Oh,
done.
Okay. So anyway, the deal is
Lego Simon.
Yeah. You want to be able to ask your customers questions that they don't have the answer to, and you don't have the answer to.
That's a gooder.
That creates a conversation. That really
and that requires preparation.
But doesn't that make people uncomfortable, Mark?
It does make people uncomfortable. Here's the whole thing. Remember, customers aren't making decisions because they're afraid of making the wrong decision. So they have to have a high level of trust in you. And they have to have a high level of confidence in you, which means you've got to jump the shark. You have got to get over this, because you've got to be able to have a conversation with the customer that goes deeper than anyone else. Because chances are they're looking at options. Chances are they're looking at other things. Chances are they're looking at making no decision at all. So if I can't ask them a question that they don't have the answer to, and you don't have the answer to, you're the wrong game. But what this does is this creates a conversation. This creates dialogue. Right. You know, it's funny. I just saw a study the other day that said nearly 80% of all buyers say salespeople don't bring them any value.
Yes. Yep.
That's shocking. And that's the one thing we should be doing, is bringing people value. I always said that. It's funny because when I was going out with salespeople that I was helping coach and so on, and we get to the call and they were trying to get in to see so-and-so, and I just kindly mentioned to the receptionist, whomever else, I said, could you mention that Rick Denley's with them? And just because they knew me, they go, oh, okay. And after several calls, the salesperson I was coaching turned to me and said, why do you get the doors open so easily? I said, here's how. Every time I see an individual and they see me, I bring them some value, something new to them that helps them in some way. That's why they're always making time to see you, because you're bringing them value. You're not just peddling a product, and that makes a world of difference. So before you go in and make any call, ask yourself, what value am I bringing? What value am I bringing?
But that's also why organizations are bringing salespeople into the process later and later. Right. Because all of us, everyone paying attention here, we're not bringing enough value consistently. So that's why we're not getting those meetings. And that's why we're not getting invited back in again.
And that's for everybody, including now, my focus being on leadership. Every morning I got up as a leader, I asked myself when I was driving into the office, what value am I bringing to my team today? Yeah, we used to drive into the office. I didn't drive a K car or Ford or something like that, those ones. I mean, I had to hang on to the wheel. Yeah. So I'd always ask myself, what value am I bringing today? Otherwise, what use am I to them? and then they want to work with you, see you, and be in the sales game. So it's absolutely incredible. Now, I've got one more question for Mark. And as you know, I usually formulate my questions ahead of time. So I want to get this one out before we move on to our favorite segment, Ricky's Recap. Mark, you've been vocal about integrity being the cornerstone of selling, especially now with AI accelerating everything from prospecting to messaging. What do today's sales leaders, the leaders, need to do differently to ensure their teams stay authentic, that they stay human and value driven rather than becoming some sort of automated noise?
It starts with them as a leader being authentic, doing it. I walked into a sales meeting the other day, and the sales manager was so proud, shared the agenda of the meeting. I'm looking at it, I go, this came right out of Claude.
Yeah.
I can tell. You can tell by how, the language used.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't sit there and say, oh, be authentic. And then the guy's not doing it himself. I mean, I'm sorry. That's it. What it comes down to is you have to allow yourself to be you. You have to demonstrate an interest in the other person. AI can't do that. AI cannot.
Nice separator. Yeah.
Genuine. Now, I'm going to use AI to help me do background information, to help me make sure that I haven't missed a point and so forth. AI is a starting tool. It's not a finishing tool. Mm-hmm. You are the finishing tool. You can never, ever forget that. And what it comes down to is simply this. If I can't take a genuine interest, if I'm a leader, if I can't take a genuine interest in my people, and one of the things I always say is I want to know their professional goals. Okay, chances are you've written them. You're the boss. Okay, but I also want to understand understand their personal goals, because if I can understand their personal goals, what motivates them, what drives them, then I can come across as being authentic. Integrity is about being authentic.
Yeah.
If you screw up, you let them know you screwed up. And you know what's interesting? You're going to score more points. You're going to score more points for that.
Right.
And at the end of
you're being human, and you're allowing.
I was going to say that this is really about being a good human, right?
And you're allowing them to be human as well. And they're going to come back with the same thing. Well, if he can admit that he screwed up as a leader, I can admit that I screwed up. And now you've got a trust factor that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing because as a leader, I had the most integrity-centered boss I ever had was a gentleman by the name of John Canavan. And my level of motivation working for him was through the roof. I couldn't work enough hours.
Why?
Because I just respected him so much because he respected me.
Yeah, you weren't scared. We didn't use scare and fear tactics.
It wasn't
scare.
There was scare and fear that I wanted to make sure I got the deal, but it was like, you know what? I mean, he motivated us. He understood us personally, and helped me overcome this, helped me do this. And it was just an amazing level of self-motivation. He didn't do it. He just created an environment. And so too, it changed how I had my conversations with customers. And there'd be times that I'd be out on sales calls and he would be with me.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. It was like watching magic.
We love that so much. That's amazing. Mark, we could go on and on all day, but we got to get to a special segment here.
And now the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for Ricky's Recap. Take it away, Ricky.
All right, Ricky is going to take it away here. Let me grab the screen for a minute. There's so many things, it's impossible to capture them all from Mark Hunter today. 3 key things he wanted to share with you was separating interest from intent with our clients. Learn your customers' KPIs. Dig deep into that. Know your customers. That's an incredible new one for you to be doing. Make sure you bring back that data to fill that gap between them all. Mark also shared with us so many things. He said that it's an obligation to help your customers. You're not bothering them or taking up their time. The alignment of passion and purpose is huge if you're going to be successful in this business. He said that we need to help people see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. And it is possible. And that's our job. prospecting with integrity, closing with confidence. Continue to be curious, and leaders create authentic sales people by leading by example. And at some point in time, apparently, I got to put together a picture of a Lego Simon. So we're going to do that as well. So these are all the things that, and there's so many more. So I hope that you're watching this.
That's a lot of sticky notes
with Mark Hunter, and too many sticky notes going forward. Mark, thanks for being on the show.
That was phenomenal.
Incredible value, just like you mentioned, salespeople should do, and those doors will open for them all the time.
Always great hanging out with you guys. You guys are awesome because, again, you're keeping sales real. And it's just a conversation between a couple people. And for us today, it was the good guys. We did not include Simon, so that's good.
Who? Right, Simon.
He'll be upset by that, but that's okay. He's going to love this episode as well.
Harsh. I wonder if he's listening.
It's 7:30 in the morning, so probably not. And I'll just echo what Rick said without getting into the details. I went into this with some expectations, right? Because it's Mark Hunter for the record. But I've written down a bunch of notes here, and usually I use these notes when I do my LinkedIn post. I know. And now it's a short story. It's a novel, right? So you know what, Mark, you don't need to hear this from us, but you are such a wealth of sales experience and sales knowledge, and you do it in a fun and passionate way. And it's awesome having you on.
Much appreciated, Mark. Scott, who have we got coming up next week?
Next week, we have one of the nicest gentlemen I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Haven't met him in person yet either, but Dean Carroll will be on next week.
Excellent. So, well, we thank Mark for being here today. Mark, I was just going to mention, what is the best place for people to get a hold of you? Also, not just you, but you've got these incredible 3 books that people really
need. And the new one, Integrity First Selling. So that's the newest one.
Hang on a minute. Let me get you full screen on that shot. Boom, there it is. Where can people get Integrity First Selling?
Best place is Amazon. Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, Amazon.uk, wherever you buy books. Anyway, and of course, the website is thesaleshunter.com.
There it is.
And,
there he is.
Hunter, I guess.
Well, that's awesome. I just realized Amazon.ca. That is so Canadian.
Hey, see, I'm working with you guys.
All the time. Mark, great having you on the show. People, go out and buy this book, buy any of his books. You're going to learn. You're going to bring more value to your customers. Your sales are going to grow. Thanks, everyone,
for attending the Sales Slap podcast. Feel free to reach out to your hosts, Rick, Simon, and Scott, and our guests from this episode for more information. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Be safe. Have a good weekend.